Oregon at Utah. Oregon goes on the road, and Utah is a pretty loud place to play, right? This is not – this schedule ain't for the faint of heart. They've gone to Washington, and now they're going to Utah. Now, if you look statistically, Mason's going to go through the numbers here shortly, but Oregon has been very good defensively against the run. Really, I guess pretty much everything, but specifically the run. They've been good against it, but they haven't faced a physical offensive line and run game like this Utah team, and I think that's kind of where this line comes from. And not to mention that it is on the road, but with all that being said, I don't like this Utah team in this spot. I think this number is wrong here. I think it should be more around like 9, right? I think it should be
Yeah.
more like Oregon -9, something to that effect. Um, Utah has not been great against the pass, and I say not great. I mean they've been okay. They've been okay, but it makes me wonder sometimes: is it that teams have to pass because they know they can't run the ball against Utah, because Utah's rush defense is very, very good. So Oregon is definitely going to have to figure out if they're going to, achieve covering the spread. Oregon is going to have to figure out a way to move people and run the ball some, and I think that will open up the pass game. But if Bo Nix tries to rush it and force it, this Utah defense will make you pay, man. They'll make you pay, and it was an emotional game that Utah was in last week. That also kind of makes me want to fade them a little bit.
Hmm.
Very emotional and a lot of celebration going on with that game, and they beat USC again, whom they own, right? They just flat out own them. And there's just one's got a Heisman winner and one's got a pig farmer, right? Um,
That's right.
that's what Kyle Whittingham said. So got a lot of respect for Kyle Whittingham. I think this is a really bad spot for Utah here, and I like Oregon by 9 or 10. Give me Oregon in the -6.5. What say you? And show us them numbers.
Yeah. I tend to agree with you. I think that 6.5 is a very bettable number. And I think that a lot of people are probably pretty high on Utah after seeing them beat USC, and maybe that's where Vegas gets this number. But coming off of the emotional win last week, Kyle Whittingham has done it time and time again. And I mean, the USC hasn't beaten Utah this decade, so that's kind of telling you something there. But it was an emotional win. They don't have their starting quarterback. Bryson Barnes is a baller. Don't get me wrong, but I think that it's kind of come back to earth time for the pig farmer. And I think that he's going to be met with a really tough Oregon defense. The numbers definitely prove that. But there is a path for them to win, and it's staying the course, playing that hard-nosed football, being physical up front. I think that they do match up pretty well with Oregon up front, and that's a little bit of a stalemate. So in that category, I guess it could go either way, but I think that where Oregon has a clear advantage is in the passing attack. Bo Nix has been playing really well. Even against Washington, I mean, gosh, he played a heck of a game, and they just barely lost. They've got a real weapon in Tony Franklin, and I think he's going to have a pretty good game this week as well. And it's going to come down to the offensive line, defensive line, and up front in the trenches as to how much Oregon wins by. But I do think that they win this game. I'm with you, Mark. I think if the over-under was set at 9, I'd be a little bit more apprehensive on this. But and I don't like the over-under at all at 48. I think that's kind of a stiff number. So I'd steer away from that, but I do think Oregon's going to be able to cover this pretty handedly. But this is Oregon can be beat by Utah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they don't have a chance here. I just think that Oregon is a more complete team, and they are coming off of a pretty, I guess, a pretty tough win last week. But they didn't win by as much as Vegas thought that they would. But I think that they're ready to come back out, and this is a statement game for them. This is an opportunity to beat the team that just beat USC, to beat the team that's won the Pac-12 the past 2 years in a row, and to show that Oregon has taken a step that and created a gap between their program and Utah's program. I think that that's what I'm seeing, at least in Oregon, and I think that they're going to go out there and prove that this Saturday.
Yeah, this is a gut check Saturday for Oregon. This is the most physical team that they will have played along the lines of scrimmage, in my opinion, as far as defensively and offensively. So, yeah, I'm interested to see how Oregon responds to that. And like I said, I think if Bo Nix tries to rush this thing and tries to go into the teeth of this defense, you know, without being patient and allowing the game to come to him, I think it could be trouble. A couple of turnovers here in this game for Utah could definitely neutralize what I think is about a 10-point, 9-point, spread in my mind. And I think a key to the game for Utah to be able to, get within the 6.5-point number or even get the win here is getting a couple of turnovers on defense, which they've done very well this year. They're plus 6 or 8 or whatever in the turnover margin there. But you're going to have to get in the passing game involved some, and that's been an issue for Utah. But maybe there's been some new life bred into this team, and maybe this team has gotten some closure from the whole Cam Rising situation. Now that they know he's not coming back, maybe it's kind of like I described in the Georgia game where Georgia's not going to be able to rely on Brock Bowers. Other people are going to have to step up on this team, and maybe this is a chance for Utah to take some ownership. Sione Vaki looked really, really good last week against USC, and look, we've been saying it all year. If you got a troubled offense, the doctor orders you a prescription of USC defense to play against, right? I mean, that's it makes you feel all better, right? But with that being said, Vaghi is very talented, and this isn't. I wouldn't say a critically acclaimed and loved pass defense for Oregon at this point. I don't think it's locked down necessarily, especially for somebody like Vaki, who, hey, somebody that's on their game, and Bryson Barnes comes out and he's on fire. It could spell trouble for Oregon. There's no doubt about it. And I could see a point where Utah gets up early in this, and then Bo Nix starts to press, and it's trouble, right? So I'm trusting the fact that Bo Nix is a veteran quarterback, that he's not going to do that, and that's what I'm banking on here. But I think that's kind of some keys to victory for Utah if they want to pull this upset.
Totally agree.
Let's go
I
ahead and
can't
move
believe
on
I didn't
to the next
mention
one here.
Sione Vaki, because I think he's a huge part of this game and plays both sides of the ball for anybody not paying attention. This guy's a safety and a receiver, and one heck of an athlete, and he's got to get involved in the offense if Utah's going to stand a chance.
It'd be really cool if he had an interception and a touchdown in the game. That'd be really neat.
That's right. That's right.
I'd like to. I should throw a little something on that. I had a funny feeling. I should throw something on that.